I always hated this cordon, but finally I can speak normally. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you? Long day, isn't it? So, sorry?
That was to blame.
Well, it's not about blame, anyway. May I speak Hungarian, yes? Good evening. We have already reviewed the situation in the Ukrainian military. Whether it is a war or peace, should the military actions continue, or should the diplomatic talks finally begin? We are on the 27th. On the 27th, it was decided that the war must continue for Ukraine. Hungary remained on the side of peace. We said that it was not necessary to continue the war, but to support the President of the United States with the greatest possible force and energy in the success of the peace talks. We should go together with the United States, and we should aim for peace, not the continuation of the war. This is why we have accepted a document, or rather, they have accepted a document on the 26th, which states that the war must continue. It states that Ukraine must be strengthened so that it can continue to fight. And of course, Hungary did not support this, because this was completely contrary to our position on peace. Then, of course, we spoke about the future of Ukraine. About the future, it is bad news that in the future, the United States cannot count on the financial assistance of the United States. Enormous amounts have been announced as to how much money should be sent to Ukraine in the next period, partly for the country to operate, partly for the army to operate. Meanwhile, we have agreed that we must spend a lot of money on ourselves to strengthen our own armies. What I see is that the money that they want to send to Ukraine, together with the burden of the Ukrainian European Union membership, is the amount that the European Union's economy cannot bear, and neither does Hungary's economy. So I think we have to take seriously the issue of the Ukrainian European Union membership again. It is not possible to make a responsible decision now. I would not like this decision to be borne over people's heads, so I have come to the conclusion at the end of the debate that we will start an opinion-revealing vote on the membership of the Ukrainian European Union. We will do it as we usually do with national consultations, quickly and simply. Then we will see.
What does this mean, Mr. Prime Minister, such a referendum result? What kind of power does the government give to the people?
I would say vote, because the referendum law was formulated in such a way that we are not talking about a public category, but rather about an opinion-revealing vote. We need to know to what extent people are willing to take responsibility for Ukraine's further support.
Mr. President, Donald Trump has said that NATO member states should only be protected as far as they contribute financially in terms of GDP expenditure. You currently spend 2.1% GDP on defense. Can you find the money to increase that? And do you think President Trump's policy is right?
The policy of President Trump in that respect is more than right. So we have to spend more. The question is, for what? Because now we have various options. First, we have to spend more money to make stronger our own military capacities and defense capacities. But at the same time, somebody should finance the Ukrainian army, which is a huge amount of money, and the Americans will not be part of that in the future. Then we have to finance somehow the state of Ukraine, because otherwise it would collapse. So I think these three things together, three packages together, is just simply too much. So I think Europe cannot afford that. Hungary, definitely not.
Are you worried about being left out of additional funding if it's only shared between the coalition of the willing?
Additional funding is just a theory. We don't know where is the money. So at this moment, we just got information about huge sum of money, which is impossible to generate from the given circumstance of the European economy. So I would be very cautious to make any commitment on financial issues, because simply we are not able to fund that.
How is your relationship bilaterally with President Zelensky? And then tonight, it seems Hungary is becoming isolated. It was a question of want versus 26. Do you sometimes go, maybe my position is a problem? Where is this isolation coming from?
So the isolation is relevant to the European Union. So the European Union has isolated itself from the United States now, isolated itself from China because of the trade war, and isolated itself from Russia because of the sanction policy. So if somebody is isolated here, it is the European Union as such. Hungary has good relation to all three directions, so we are not isolated at all.
Prime Minister, this morning we heard a specific date from the Baltic states. In total, how much support does the membership of the Ukrainian Union have among the member states?
Well, they see this issue as a possibility offered by Ukraine, as an alternative to the current war, for the victims of the current war, for the current efforts. But I think the two things must be chosen separately. So I think one thing is the war, and the other is the membership of the Union. Both have huge financial goals, and we will not be able to cope with both together.
Prime Minister, was it really the plan to save Kim Il-sung with your help? And was this part of the plan because the Americans knew about it?
No, there was no such plan.
Prime Minister, do you see the danger of Ukraine's possible membership of the Union in Hungary?
Well, look, our economic problems can be due to this. We are talking about huge numbers. We are talking about a huge country. The whole European agricultural economy would be in trouble, Hungary for sure, but the neighboring countries as well as Ukraine similarly. The whole economic system of the European Union would collapse. I don't think we are prepared for this, so I think we have to slow down and we definitely have to know people's opinion on this issue.
Prime Minister, could you explain this referendum that you mentioned? Could you explain a bit how it would impact Hungary's decision?
No, we have the so-called national consultation scheme, which we use regularly to collect the opinion of the people, so we will use the same scheme just now.
Mr. Orbán, how is your relationship with Mr. Zelensky? You've had ups and downs. Where is it now?
He is the president of Ukraine, and I respect all the leaders of all the sovereign countries, so I respect him, of course.
He's the right person for peace
You know
talks.
he's the leader of Ukraine.
Mr. Orbán, what is the future for Hungary in the European Union that Hungary was once again included in a decision?
Well, I'm thinking about whether we were included. I think if there is a gap between my two steps, whoever is included is not a smart thing to do. Thank you very much.